Have you ever wondered what goes on behind the scenes when somebody is running a startup or a business? I know for a fact that this is something that I've always wondered about, and I love seeing series by like Alex Hormozy and the Hormozys, and I love seeing stuff like with Stephen Bartlett's Behind the Diary, and even stuff that Gary Vee has done, to be able to understand how the business is ran, what does the day-to-day life look like for an entrepreneur. And so I want to be able to share that journey with you guys. If you don't know who I am, my name is Rob and I'm the founder of Inclus, an inclusive design consultancy aiming to help organizations to create inclusive design products that are aimed towards helping those from social minority groups. So one of the reasons of why I wanted to start recording this vlog journey of my business and the growth of my business is because of something that Alex Hormozy actually mentioned in one of his recent videos I watched. Now, Alex Hormozy, of course, is a fantastic entrepreneur who has documented a lot of his journey, but one of the things that he wished he had when he was growing up as an entrepreneur and developing as one is, why can't we know about the stories of people such as Jeff Bezos? Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon, one of the richest companies in the world, and it's very much what it feels like to us from the outside, is an overnight success. But we know for a fact that there's the infamous picture of Jeff Bezos sat in his little office in the 1990s with Amazon written on a piece of cardboard behind him, that it kind of came from those strengths to then eventually one day having this huge company. But wouldn't it be cool to know what happens in between? And that's what I want to share with you guys. I want to share with you my journey and seeing of how Inclus grows, getting you to see behind the scenes what actually happens in my day-to-day life as a founder, but also what happens in the progress of the actual business itself and the processes that I have to do, the tedious things that I have to do, but also the really cool and epic projects that I get involved in because of what I love to do. So I'm going to be taking you on that journey. So to give some context, and I apologise about this audio, it's going to be horrible in this room, it's a bit echoey. So to give some context, today is Monday. So this morning, as you've probably already seen, I've been cracking on a little bit with something that I'm doing at the moment in the background, which is a website redesign. So if you check out the current website, it's okay, but I really want to improve it in terms of optimizing, converting people, in terms of converting people kind of cold leads into more warmer leads through the website. And so that's something that I'm optimizing. I'm also changing the design a bit. I find that the red sometimes is a bit too much in people's faces, so this is something that I want to change, and I want to really refine what our services and our processes as well. So that's something that's all going on this morning a little bit. And then something that's going to be happening today, which is quite cool, is I'm going to be delivering a talk. So I'm going to be delivering a talk to some final year design students as part of Loughborough University, which hopefully should be really cool. Hopefully I'll be able to film a little bit of it, I hope, fingers crossed. Because I remember when I was in that position last year and I was listening to some grads talk about their final year projects and that side of things. Hopefully it'll be a really influential talk and that a lot of the students will be able to understand a bit better of what they want to do for their final year project, and just for some things to watch out for, because there were so many things that happened kind of in my final year project last year that you kind of, you either learn from, you regret a little bit. So it'd be nice to pass the mantle on a little bit. So fingers crossed, I'll hopefully get to film a little bit of that and show you that part of my day this week.
Okay, straight into it with Robert McKinna.
Thanks, John. Also, just thanks so much, guys, for having me here. It feels incredibly weird. I only came into this building about 10-20 minutes ago and I still feel like a student, so I'm getting used to that feeling of being a graduate, but we're getting there. More on kind of the emotional feeling side for final year. Who in this room, just ignore that John's here, who is actually excited for final year? Who's like ready to go, really excited for your IDMP? Yeah? Okay. And on the flip side of that though, genuinely, who is nervous? Who is apprehensive about final year? Who's a little bit scared of what is to come? Be honest, raise your hand. Okay, so basically, what I was doing this exercise for is just to help you guys to understand that everybody's in different places. This is something I didn't realise until I got to the end of my final year project, of that nobody is always in the same place. Everybody's projects are entirely different. So it's okay if right now you don't know what you're going to do for your final year project, because don't listen, John. But don't worry if you don't know what you're going to do, because there is still time for you to be able to get further forward. And don't worry, because there's always going to be this person, do not worry about the person that says, I'm on week 7 and you're on week 3 of content. Do not worry about them, because everybody's project is different and everybody will go at different paces. So the number one thing in terms of how did I initially prepare for my IDMP is thinking about the bigger picture. So I suspect, I won't ask for hands up because it'll probably be a bit scary, but I suspect the majority of you in this room are very much focused on get my final year project on, get the piece of paper, get the first, and that's that. I'll work it out later. That is okay for now, but you should use your final year project for what it is for. It is not just for a grade. This is a project that you can use as a stepping stone to be able to get to where you want to go in your career. Even if that isn't within the design world, even if it's something that's external, this is your opportunity to do something that you're passionate about, that you can show off to the world how bloody brilliant you really are. Hello, so we are now on Tuesday of this week, and the talk that I did yesterday, as far as I can tell, went really well. I was really pleased with it, and even hearing some of the other grads talk in their talks, it was just really interesting to kind of see where everybody's perspectives were of final year. I think a lot of it came down to be very self-aware. So being able to understand yourself and what you're actually wanting from your final year project. I really enjoyed doing the talk, and it was great to see my old lecturer John, and also to meet some of the grads as well, and see some old friends as well from final year who I wish very much the best of luck with their final year project. Today, Tuesday, a little bit different. I've been doing some work this morning in terms of still a bit of website redesign, which I know is going to be a pain. We've got a to-do list though now, which is sorted because I didn't have a to-do list before, and that is now saving me, so that helps. And the big thing this evening is I'm doing another talk. So this evening I'm going to be speaking at the Loughborough Enterprise event, which is going to be focusing upon giving a bit of inspiration and motivation to some young entrepreneurs, and just basically telling them my entrepreneurial journey. Wow, so I just came back after the talk that I delivered this evening. I forgot to take a video, but hopefully here are some images that I'll put up of the talk itself. And wow, it genuinely went so much better than I thought. I also thought with the nature of some of the events that I've been involved in previously that are similar to that not many people would be there. There was way more students there than I expected. And it's the first time kind of ever probably I had quite a lot of people speaking to me afterwards, which I'm not used to, which was really cool because everybody was very similar in the fact that they were interested about entrepreneurship and businesses and how things work, and I genuinely enjoyed it so much. That's been amazing, and that's why I love doing talks like that, because it's just so fun. And probably the big thing was as well, the people I spoke to, I could see myself in like first year within them in a weird way. I could see where I was and also how far I've come, which I don't think I always look back upon enough. I don't reflect enough upon how far I've actually come and the person I am today. It was just amazing, man. I could have done it for hours and hours and hours, but eventually I have to come back and go to sleep. Also tomorrow tomorrow is when we have our cohort meeting as a cohort within the incubator, so I've got to go to that. I think in the afternoon I will be doing some further work on the website and probably some other things I've got on my to-do list.
When you're successful cause they try to be, they sit there being judgmental because you're trying things, and they just want you to settle and do the right thing.
So today is now Thursday, and we're starting to get towards the end of this week in terms of recording my journey and everything that's kind of been going on this week. But in terms of how things are going at the moment, I've had some issues with the website. It crashed yesterday, which wasn't great. But luckily, after a couple of calls with some developers, I was able to get the problems just about fixed, but they're still fixing them at the moment. So going to continue with the website, but it may take a little bit longer than I was hoping for. And this week, to be honest, has been really fun. It's been really interesting, and I think it's probably quite good as a week to vlog, because most weeks as an entrepreneur are not always like this. But I think one thing I want to include in these vlogs is a little bit of like, what's the big thing that's been my learning curve for me this week? And I think for me, the big thing has been all about imposter syndrome. When I did 2 talks on Monday and Tuesday, in both of them, I was asking myself the question of, what am I doing here? Why am I being the person that's being asked to speak? Why are people valuing my opinion? And I was starting to question myself and have a little bit of self-doubt. But the beauty is, luckily from experiences I've had that are similar over the years, in particular, when I was on placement and I was working at Unilever, I remember the first month or so I had a massive amount of imposter syndrome, and I felt like that I shouldn't be there and that it didn't feel right for me. But in fact, I realized that it was just a moment of growth. And that's what you have to realize, that it's actually a good thing if you feel uncomfortable. It's a good thing if you feel as though you're in a space where you're going to grow. But I really hope that you've enjoyed this week's vlog and that you've enjoyed a bit of content. And if this is the kind of thing that you want to see more on a regular basis, let me know down in the comments below. Also, make sure to give us a follow and like the video.